Have you ever promised yourself you'd wake up early, only to silence the alarm and wake up hours later with regret sitting on your chest? Maybe you've heard it too, that successful people start their day before everyone else. Maybe you've tried it once, or many times, and every time life pulls you back into the same routine. You tell yourself you're not built for mornings, that sleep matters more, that you'll figure things out someday. But what if the most important decisions of your life are being made before the sun even rises? What if one quiet hour each morning is the difference between staying stuck and finally moving forward? This is not a story about discipline. It's a story about a man who felt invisible until the early hours gave him a way out. In a town where factories never rested, where machines hummed through the night, there lived a man in his early 30s named Daniel. Every evening, while others were returning home, Daniel was reporting for duty. He worked nights as a security guard at a storage facility. 12-hour shifts, cold floors, endless walking. When his shift ended at dawn, his body felt hollow. He would walk home as the town slowly woke up, past lit kitchens, pressed shirts, school bags by the door. People beginning lives that felt like they were going somewhere. Daniel walked past it all. His apartment was small and quiet. A thin mattress on the floor. A fan that rattled more than it cooled. One dim bulb that flickered when power dropped. Money barely covered rent and food. But the heavier weight wasn't financial. It was the feeling that life was moving forward, and he was watching it from behind glass. Daniel wasn't lazy. That truth hurt the most. He stayed alert all night, walked miles, did his job properly. He applied for better work whenever he could, but without higher education, nothing came back. He thought about learning something new, but after working all night, sleep always won. Every week his mother called from their rural home. "My son," she would say softly, "when will things change for you? I want to see you settled before I grow too weak." Daniel always answered the same way. "Soon, Mama. I'm trying." But after hanging up, he would stare at the ceiling, knowing the truth. He didn't know how to change. Every morning as he collapsed into bed while others were starting their day, he felt like he was living life backwards. One cold morning in late November, just as Daniel was leaving work, his phone rang. It was his sister. "Daniel, you need to come home." Mama collapsed. The ride back felt endless. At the clinic, his mother lay thin and exhausted. The doctor spoke quietly. Stress. Poor nutrition. Years of struggle catching up. When they were alone, she held Daniel's hand and whispered, "Don't spend your whole life just surviving. Promise me you'll find another way." That night, something inside Daniel broke, not into tears, but into anger. Anger at helplessness. Anger at time slipping away. Before sunrise, Daniel stepped outside the clinic. The village was still asleep. Only a few farmers moved toward their fields. The air was cool. Birds began to stir. It was just after 5 in the morning. For the first time in years, Daniel wasn't rushing, wasn't exhausted. He was still. And standing there, he realized something painful. He never had time that truly belonged to him. Not a plan formed that morning, not a system, just a decision. "I can't keep living like this," he whispered. "I don't know how yet, but I will find a way." On the bus back to town, Daniel noticed a man sitting across from him, calm, well-dressed, reading quietly as the sun rose. Daniel recognized him, a local business owner who seemed unhurried by life. Gathering courage, Daniel asked, "Why are you up so early?" The man smiled. "Because these hours are quiet. That's when I think clearly." They talked. Daniel explained his night work, his exhaustion, his frustration. The man listened, then said something Daniel couldn't forget. "You're awake when opportunity sleeps, and asleep when opportunity is awake." He didn't offer miracles, just perspective. Change when you sleep. Protect a few hours when your mind is fresh. That's where lives are rebuilt. The next morning, the alarm rang. Daniel's body protested. His mind begged for rest, but he remembered his mother's face and the quiet village at dawn. The first week was brutal. He woke up tired, studied with burning eyes, walked through empty streets while the world slept. No one encouraged him. No one noticed, but slowly something changed. By the third week, his body adapted. Learning became easier, thinking became sharper. He wasn't just surviving nights anymore. He was building mornings. Months passed. Daniel learned skills that made him useful. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. He applied what he learned at work, improved systems, solved small problems others ignored. People noticed. Opportunities followed. A year later, Daniel's life looked nothing like it once did. Not because he woke up early, but because he reclaimed time before the world demanded it. Daniel's story proves something important. Change doesn't happen someday. It doesn't happen when conditions are perfect. It starts on an ordinary morning, before the world wakes up. Here's what most people never understand. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is not talent. It's not luck. It's not even how hard you work. It's what you do with the hours when everyone else is asleep. Those early morning hours, before messages, before noise, before excuses, that's when direction is decided. Now let's talk numbers. Real numbers. If you use just 2 hours every morning, not scrolling, not drifting, not going back to sleep, but learning, practicing, building something useful, 2 hours a day for 1 year is 730 hours. 730 hours. That's the equivalent of over 30 full days of nonstop work. And in real-life terms, it puts you roughly 3 months ahead of people who slept through those hours. 3 months ahead of delay. 3 months ahead of excuses. 3 months ahead of the version of you that keeps saying, "I'll start later." Not because you're better, but because you showed up when the world was quiet. So here's your challenge. Tonight, sleep early. Set your alarm for 5 a.m. Not 5:10. Not when I wake up. 5 o'clock. Put your phone far from your bed so you have to stand up to turn it off. When you wake up, don't improvise. Have a plan. Decide one thing you'll build in your first hour. A skill, a course, a business idea, something that moves your life forward. Then protect that hour. Every day. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because waking up early without a plan is just tiredness. But waking up early with intention is how lives change. And now the real question. What will you do with your morning hours? If you want more inspirational tales like this, stories that don't just motivate you, but show you how change actually happens, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Now drop a comment below and tell me, what will you start building in your morning hours? Share this video with someone you know who wants to improve but doesn't know how or where to start. And remember this, your future isn't waiting on luck. It's waiting on an alarm clock. The question is, will you be awake?